Welcome guys to another late night pick your poison tournament cast. Again, huge thanks to Daniela and her crew for putting on this event. Make sure to show them some love and yeah, just be grateful that we get to watch so much Age of Empires 2 here and everybody got to participate. Now, today we're looking at a Group G series between BrutalArmy and ALIKOG. This is round 2 of the bracket, thus the quarterfinals matchup. And we've got the draft for you to see right here. So game 1 is going to start out on Nomad with Teutons against Berbers. That being said, let's jump right in, shall we? We've got an interesting series at our hands, hopefully. So let's waste no time as we get this one underway. We've got the Berbers here on the left end. The Teutons on the right. As we can see at the top, it's seed 8 against seed 1. So ALIKOG is the decided favorite for this matchup. And we'll see if he can live up to that favorite role. Both players, of course, have grabbed a victory in round 1 in order to get here. So they're looking to continue this tournament in a, well, hopefully fortunate fashion. Town center going up already for the Berbers. I think BrutalArmy with a pretty decent spot here. Food is okay, although they've lost their cows, which could end up proving a problem at some time. And other than that, it looks pretty fine. Gold right next to the town center, great wood lines, also pretty wallable, so nothing to scoff at. On the other side there for the Teutons, up north, it's an interesting one. So it's not very great against the wood line. There's good food. The golden stone is a little bit far, but all in all, I think it's a manageable spot, all depending on if they can get onto those resources here. If BrutalArmy, however, can pressure them off of that, that could be really bad for ALIKOG. So let's see how they're going to handle this to start out. I haven't talked about this in a while, but maybe just as a reminder, the higher seeded player, in this case ALIKOG, basically gets to decide which map they want to play in game 1 and which they want for their home map. So they actually indirectly picked this Nomad map as the game 1. So maybe they are quite comfortable on this as well. So in general, I would just suppose that the higher seeded players typically may be a bit more comfortable with the game 1 map than the lower seeded player might be. But then again, that's all just conjecture. Could also, of course, be the other way around. Now, before this one really starts taking off, let's take a look at the Civ bonuses here. As always, on the left side, which is actually the right side, but still the left side, we can see the board here actually having been lamed. Curious. Not quite sure about this. It's been walled in by BrutalArmy, but why would it have been? I'm not sure what quite happened there, but, well, bottom line, this board is not going to be gathered. What was I talking about, though? Yes, the Civ bonuses here for the Berbers. It's a Civ we've seen a lot of, so I won't go into detail all that much. Faster moving villages, nice, even in Dark Age here. Maybe part of the reason why BrutalArmy was able to actually gather the villages quicker and have that town center go up really quick. We can see a 1 villager lead there due to the town center being up quite a bit sooner, actually. We've got faster moving ships, which is a bonus I really like a lot on water maps too. Makes galley micro nicer, makes fishing ships more efficient as well, which maybe people don't talk about often. But also, yeah, can't go wrong with that on water maps. And they've got a discount on stable units. The longer the game goes on, the cheaper those get. So that's great as well. You can really get out a lot of knights, for example. In general, though, quite the flexible Civ with the Camel Archer and the Genie 2 also being available. Anyhow, now on to the Teutons, which we've also seen a fair bit of, but have come more into flavor of the month type stuff a month ago, funnily enough. So they're an infantry Civ, yes, but they've also got a wide array of different bonuses that can come in handy in one game or another. We all know, of course, the cheaper farms there. We know the resistance to conversion, but there's also some more niche type of stuff like extra healing range for monks and units healing, or I should say the herbal medicine as well as the motor holds tax being free. So they've got some niche stuff that might be useful here. Either way, if you want a total look at all those bonuses, you've got them on screen right here. Now, onto the game action though. We've got efficient ships by both players, at least as many as they were able to put out. Currently, BrutalArmy looking pretty nice here, I would say. Actually, that's sad. They have 1.5 minute idle TC time though, so that villager lead that they had actually has gone over to ALIKOG's side here. Quite a wide margin. That's 2 villages more for the Teutons. I wonder what the eco-balancing problem was for BrutalArmy. It might simply be down to the fact that that initial boar here wasn't able to be taken and all those cows were stolen, as we saw at the beginning of the game. So the Berbers here is struggling a bit, keeping up with villager production at least. They've got more fishing ships out. The third one already on the way, whereas the Teutons here are still working with just one. So they're making up for the lag in some sorts here, at least. Still, we see the differential there in food for both players. It's 100 more already for ALIKOG there. So looks like maybe they're going to get a quicker start here off to feudal age, and we'll see what they can do from there. But what a beautiful mill here in the west. Man, I wonder why we're prioritizing the mill over some more fishing ships. But it's a very efficient one. We've got the cow here, the deer, and the boar as well. So that food income is going to remain stable for at least quite a while there for ALIKOG. And BrutalArmy still struggling a bit with food here. We basically have the Berbers being forced to go to these berries soon. Or maybe commit harder for the hunt down in the south. It is a bit awkward though, so we'll see what they'll end up doing. Actually going off of the food now that they've managed to get to feudal age. So that was actually quite nicely done here, surprisingly fast onto feudal age here after it looked like they might be behind a little bit. Whereas ALIKOG also is going to follow now, 20 seconds difference. Not the end of the world there. Picked up Loom 2, as did the Berbers earlier, in case you didn't catch it. So let's check out the resource collected here as we head to feudal age, and we're basically at an even point. Teutons a little bit ahead, and of course also with the villager lead there. That being made up for though by the fishing ships for BrutalArmy. So it's looking quite decent here, really. We'll have to see how this goes as we hit feudal age, where people are looking for their angles. Both players going for the standard second dock. Pretty curious spot there to put the dock. I don't know about this one, not quite sure. It's very far away, and it looks like ALIKOG might not be able to get this one up before they arrive to the next age. This villager is really weird. Okay, this villager is completely... Oh, it's walled in. Wow. The cow is blocking the villager out. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Look at ALIKOG. He's thinking, why is this dock not gonna build up? I've clicked so many times now. But the issue, yeah, the cow was blocking the villager from being able to get through here. Or maybe it was just the relic and the cow wasn't even the issue. Either way, they've walled themselves in here quite unfortunately, and thus they're in feudal age, but they can only produce warships out of one dock, whereas BrutalArmy, as long as the economy permits it, is able to use a double dock production already. Might be a bit of an advantage here heading into feudal age actually, and the Berbers are going to be quite happy with that. We've also got a barracks on land though for the Teutons, so they might try to go yeah, for a double whammy here. Water as well as land. Looks like the warships are starting to come out from both sides. Brutal Army a tad late on the response here, and there's repair villagers also for ALIKOG, so you gotta be careful with these trades here. You don't want to overcommit too early, but it's looking pretty decent so far. Fire galleys still in production for both players, and it's going to be a bigger skirmish I should say, for water here. Lots of repairs coming in though. Okay, this is not an easy fight to take there for the Berbers, and they gotta reset and gather a few more forces it seems. ALIKOG has been able to get onto the gold, fortunately. Very efficient barracks placement here. I like this a lot, able to get units out there to the north, but also blocking Teutons from coming south. But let's not miss out on what is going on the water here. We're seeing these demolition ships already being queued up. Berbers with one about to come out of the rear dock, it seems. And here the skirmishing continues, but gotta be real careful there as the Berbers. You can't repair. Any damage that's being done here is semi-permanent. You've got this one villager, right? I mean, so if you're fully resetting, such as now, you're actually able to repair everything up. But in general, if you're diving in here, the opponent has a much bigger margin of error, is what I would describe this as. The micro here better for ALIKOG, actually, able to focus one of their ships down, but in comes the demo, and oh, all these ships were a little bit offshore, and now no, all going down. Brutal Army finding a great fight here. That was such a good trade after the initial kind of miss micro there, if you can even call it that, but getting a great trade overall, even going back for the repairs, and now all of a sudden it's looking really good for the Berbers on water here. On land, neither party has made any military yet, and we're seeing galleys being queued up for the Berbers to back up this initial victory with the fire ships. I think they're going to probably take good control of the water here, but ALIKOG is not given a top yet. Still going for fire ships. A demo also queued up in the rear dock here as well, and those big demo shots can turn the tides of these battles. So it's not over yet here by any means in terms of water combat, but we gotta see if this is recoverable. Fishing ships have gone down in any case, so that's an investment gone for Ali. The galleys now here as well. Look how quick they are moving. That is the Berber luxury. Well, land military still not coming out, and it's actually Brutal Army who's also able to go up to Castle Age first. So the underdog doing really well so far. 8th seed, but definitely not looking outmatched so far. Getting great damage done on these docks already, and ALIKOG is not going to be able to assemble a great army, or a great navy rather, because the docks are just not going to be around for very long, I'm afraid. And map control looking nice. ALIKOG kind of cornered in here, and naval control also looking nice for the Berbers. So an interesting start to the series here, to say the least. Demo coming on over now, likely going to get these 2 kills here, although maybe not greatest hit, but it was a good one. Looks like 2 fires are going to go down here for Brutal Army, but at what cost really? Looks like I'm not paying a ton of attention over here. This fire ship getting a lot more damage done than it should really, but still we've got 0 land military on either side, and thus the Berbers are going to be very happy with this. Getting to Castle Age 2 minutes ahead of the opponent, and Brutal Army is looking quite good here, queuing up knights immediately. Love to see that for them. Where's that stable actually? Ooh, it's very much forward here. Second stable even being constructed. Lots of villages on gold and just a few ones on food. Mainly, I guess, the fishing ships are contributing to that. So we'll need another few farms, I believe, in order to sustain villager production on top of these knights that they're currently making. We can see the idle time now getting a bit high there for the Berbers, actually prioritizing getting out knights early here over the villager production. Not sure I'm the biggest fan of that, but with this water control, they definitely have some room for idle time, so to speak, because that's some consistent food income that the Teutons will not have. This is not efficient usage of your food, though. If you stop villager production to get knights, you can't be throwing away your knights like that. So that's a bit negligent there, to say the least. However, the other few knights seem to be getting some better value. A mangonel out on top of this as well, and that stable is going to be denied from the Teutons. It's a real rough spot to be in for ALIKOG. I wonder if they can salvage this somehow. Spearmen for now, trying some answer there for the knights, but that's going to be difficult to make work, I'm afraid. Oh, I would hate to be in this spot there for sure. Two knights still alive for the Berbers. One of them is here, protecting the mangonel, going to take a lot of damage from these spearmen. There's no upgrades yet on these knights, no upgrades at all. Actually, 2 HP left on this one. Maybe they're going to be able to save this one, but the mangonel is now in a bit of trouble here as the knight ends up falling. Looks like BrutalArmy is kind of running out of steam a bit here. The eco is not really able to sustain the double knight or the double stable production that they were hoping for, and now they're actually losing quite a bit of military here. Only one knight alive. The next play is going to be a castle drop. Yeah, I don't love this from BrutalArmy. I think they were trying to do a few too many things at once. Mining stone for a castle drop, and making 2 stables to produce knights out of. At the same time, trying to keep villager production up from the town center, and making siege. I think their eco did not by any means permit for making this many things at once, and it kind of shows here. So the trades haven't been the greatest, but they're still in a great spot, all things considered, at least as far as I'm concerned. Getting 1-for-1 trade on those knights. Actually won't pull this one to safety, it looks, but funnily enough here, the villagers blocking the spearmen from getting in, and thus the army gets out of there just barely. It's gonna be an interesting one though, because now we've got some knights, some monks out for the Teutons. Maybe they're able to defend for a bit here. The castle in the south is interesting. It protects the Berber flank more so than it does anything else. It doesn't deny really any eco space from the Teutons. Was that a knight conversion? It would have had to have been, right? Well, that sucks if I'm the Berbers, man. I hate to see this. Teutons getting that conversion, and you didn't have that many knights to begin with here, BrutalArmy, so better be responsible with that army. Still a good number around though, so that the raids could still be very much impactful. And that's what we mentioned before, right? This stone and gold is very vulnerable. We now even have camel archers coming out, and there's 0 answers for that right now for the Teutons. Neither spearmen nor knights are good against those camel archers, so I guess gotta have to play with monks, which that's exactly what he's doing right now. Is he gonna get this one off? Wow, that was a long time on that conversion, and actually it's BrutalArmy able to get it out of there, and it might sound like a minuscule victory here, but to the contrary, these units are super valuable even in low numbers, because the opponent just has no answer for them right now, and the eco is going to continuously get harassed. Castle was attempted here as a defensive measure for ALIKOG, but BrutalArmy again able to deny that one. This one is going great so far for the Berbers. They've got their fishing economy still intact. The Teutons have not been able to get back onto water, and it's a bit scary there if I'm ALIKOG. Down 13 eco units. Now this time around, apparently that castle will go up. Okay, this is within vision of BrutalArmy, doing a good job there of picking up Town Watch, presumably. Able to actually see this, but decides it's probably not a possibility to deny this one. Well, still tries to get in anyways. I have to pay attention not to get more conversions here. Oh boy, Monk now coming out for Brutal themselves. It actually gets the conversion here despite the Teuton bonus, so it's not impossible apparently to convert Teuton monks, or Teuton units rather. Now at least we see ALIKOG able to strike back there with that conversion, but it's still far from a good game state for the Teutons. They're cornered in this little area here, with units coming from all sides here potentially, and yet more cavalry camel archers being queued up by BrutalArmy. This is an exciting start to a series. I always love to see the underdog start off, not necessarily with a game victory, but at least with a good performance in their first game, so we know that the series is going to be competitive. Third town center attempted to be dropped for ALIKOG, and that's something that they've been doing really good here. A nice job at expanding the economy and getting the town centers on crucial resources that they're going to need, because we've already established these front resources here are not the safest. You can't spend a lot of villages on those, so it's a really nice job there getting the town centers on the eastern side there. Second castle has come up for the Berbers, also more of a defensive one actually, or an area control one, I would say. It's not an aggressive one by any means, so that's mainly what I mean by that. And in a trebuchet fight, they would certainly be well equipped with those two castles. We're still quite a bit away from Imperial Age though, with both players being in the 40s and 50s in terms of villages, so it's going to take some time to get up there, presumably. The army numbers aren't massive for either side, but we see Brutal still add some more knights, some more camel archers here every now and then. And currently not raiding those, so ALIKOG is definitely catching a big breath here. Looks like was able to get a dock down somewhere. Oh no, it must have been conversions, because there is no dock, so great job there actually getting the monks over and converting those two galleys. That's some free damage, quote unquote, as long as you don't need those monks elsewhere. ALIKOG still playing great attention there and able to inflict some damage where none was likely to be found. Relic game not relevant yet. 2 town centers against 3, so Teutons might be able to close that eco gap a bit. That said though, they don't have the farming eco yet in order to pump villagers out of all those 3 town centers. Good news for them, they're playing as the Teutons. Way cheaper farms, 36 wood I believe, and that means it's not going to take all that long to get these farms up and running. Still for the moment though, BrutalArmy actually extending the village lead with those 2 town centers, just because they have the eco to back that up. Also expecting them to actually go up to Imp pretty soon, because they haven't really been raiding or amassing units. They've made a few more camel archers, sure, and they're getting the 2 knight kills now. That is massive. A third one is going to fall. I don't think he's going to get that conversion. He really is not. And this is terrible news for the Teutons. They're getting raided now. The opponent it could go Imp any moment really, and you've lost your best counter unit to the camel archers and knights right now, so that might pose some problems here. And the not too distant future, even outnumbered in terms of knights right now, and these farms are not that safe, which, remember, ALIKOG really needs to work those farms in order to keep villager production up. That is their way back into this one, being up 1 town center, at least for the time being, as the third one is being constructed for the Berbers over there in the east. So as another way of knights ends up entering ALIKOG's eco, he's yet again faced with questions that he probably doesn't have the tools to answer. Imp on the way for BrutalArmy. It's still pretty far away for ALIKOG, who would have to sell all that stone in order to get up there. And this is looking rough for the Teutons. Man, oh man, our underdog here coming off. Starting off with a great game here. Doesn't even have the greatest upgrades yet for the unit. Still 0 knights upgrade. Just the bodkin there. No armor for the camel archers. No ballistics, which are only now on the way. So, despite being up to Imp way earlier and being able to produce a lot of trebuchets quickly with the double castle setup, I wonder if they're actually going to be able to protect those trebuchets against the few knights that ALIKOG is likely going to be able to field. Alright, we'll see. We'll see what the Teutons can do here. As they're trying to drop another castle, I don't think this one is going to go up, and this is terrible news. I think this one is as good as over, frankly. Down 30 villagers now, approaching 40 even. And Imp nowhere in sight. I don't expect this one to last all that much longer. And there we go. I didn't see the GG actually given. But BrutalArmy takes the game 1 map, and big congrats here. We'll see where they can go from here, but that's a neutral map going over to our underdog. Hey there in chat, Silver Python. We love the camel archers. I fully agree on that. And let's take a quick glance back at the draft as Underdog actually takes the #1 map. ALIKOG on their home map, Golden Swamp, will apparently be looking to strike back here. Malay against Spanish should be the expected matchup there. Let me see if I can pull such a match up here. Malay against Spanish on Golden Swamp. Yes, that's what we've got right here. Game 2 of the series. I don't want to waste any time here, honestly. Let's just get in there. Oh, you're even subscribed, CyberPython. Did you get a gifted sub? Oh yeah, Beige gifted one. I think I did thank them for that. At least I hope so. But yeah, Beige being great here with the support. Absolutely. Let's dive into game 2 right away though, because there's no reason to stall this one out. I want to see if ALIKOG, as the first seed in this bracket, can come back into this, or if BrutalArmy is able to close out the series here. We've seen a very similar series from bracket H or I think it was bracket H earlier today, where a 9th seed beat a 1 seed. So potentially we could see a repeat of this happening. It's not looking too bad, at least for the time being. But we're now on the #1 seed's home map, so ALIKOG should be favored in this one, surely. Didn't play bad per se in the last game, but a lot of things ended up going wrong for them. So let's see if they can make up for this here. As always, we'll start off with the Civ overviews. And let's start here on the right where we already are with ALIKOG's Malay. Fine Civ for this map, I would suppose. I mean, we've got tons of interesting bonuses on the Malay. Quicker advance times to the next age being one of them. Free infantry armor upgrades being another, man. That is such a cool bonus to have. This is like the Korean bonus, but actually useful. No, I'm just playing. But still, it is a really nice bonus to have. And useful all the way throughout the game, honestly. Like for feudal rushes, standard castle age play, or even just an imp when you've got some pikes or longswords. It just, yeah, never a bad bonus and will always come into play at some point in time. Then again, we've also got at least some naval stuff, fish traps here being the big thing for the Malay. I'm not sure we're going to see a ton of fish traps on this map, because typically people don't invest that much into water play here. But maybe we can see a different approach here, playing as the Malay. Could imagine this being optimal, going for more of a fish trap approach. We have seen a Malay player go for a successful battle elephant push already in this tournament, so maybe that's something we could see here as well. I always love to see those hordes in best Hannibal impressions here, although the lack of Alps to cross probably not the best analogy here. Either way, lots of possibilities for the Malay player is what I wanted to highlight there, and we gotta see what ALIKOG ends up opting for to try and save this series and his tournament life. On the other side, BrutalArmy playing against the Spanish, which, well, it's the Spanish, right? We've got lots of interesting stuff there. I've pointed this out a couple of times, but I love the new gold bonus that they have. I think it's super unique. Researching technologies grants 20 gold. If you've got some build practiced with the Spanish, I think you can hit some very interesting timings, and with some extra technologies that most other civs don't pick up as early to boot. So this is actually a really fun bonus that I think we need more of in the game, and yeah, love to see it. Now, there's still much more to the Spanish though. We have no gold cost on the blacksmith upgrades, absolutely big, allows for easy attack switches, and of course just for more gold to be spent on units. We've got some decent naval stuff. The cannon galleons, I guess, are very well known, but well, probably not going to come into play in this one. Although I shouldn't say this, we've seen lots of variety of different types of games here. What I mean by that is huge focus on water, no focus on water, long games, short games. So we really can't be sure what we're looking at here. We might even see some missionaries here at some point down the line. Now though, what do we have on both sides here? We've got again a bit of higher idle time for BrutalArmy, although this time around it's surely not near as bad as last time. Looks like they're going to go for a 20 villager feudal age, and whereas the Malay are again going to stick around a bit longer apparently, going for those 21 villagers, and Loom just because they of course have the quicker advancing time, so that's not going to be effectively putting them behind. A really nice bonus to have, as we can see, although they're about to lose their scout here. Oh, the movement wasn't quite there. That's a big victory early for BrutalArmy. This is one of the most important maps to have a scout on, as far as I'm concerned, because you always want to know how many docks the enemy is playing here in early feudal. Let's see if ALIKOG was at least able. No, they weren't. They don't know if there's 0, 1, or 2 docks for BrutalArmy. Oh, that's terrible news for the Malay player here, lacking a lot of critical information. Luckily for them, their dock hasn't been spotted yet either, so they're kind of operating on equal playing fields here. But this is not what we like to see for the favorite here. About to get up to feudal age a bit faster than the Spanish, actually. That's the power of that advanced time bonus. Walls aren't fully up yet for either side, but we gotta see what the early focus is going to be. And apparently, just like in the last game, we're going to get just some naval military to start off the feudal age. No barracks here being dropped yet for either side. Oh, never mind. There's the barracks for the Spanish. Alright, okay. Well, maybe just a preemptive measure in case the enemy went for scouts. Could then defend with some spearmen. I might also look for some land military action themselves, so we can't be sure. Let's see what they end up going for. So far, both parties just only making fire ships for army. So we'll see how that goes. Some free hits on the fishing ships feels good. But out pops the first fire ship, and you never want to fight that with cavalry. We've seen this a couple of times in the tournament, actually. Hasn't typically ended well for the people who attempted this. So BrutalArmy wise to back off here. And still with that scout alive, that is an advantage. Now actually housed though, and still just on one dock, whereas Malay have got their 2 up and running. Alright, they have only spotted that 1 enemy dock, so they're probably expecting some navy. But interesting choice not to go for a second dock. That would spend on the barracks instead here. Might come to regret that at some point. As also the Malay player adding their own barracks. Spearmen out. Very interesting choice to go for a spearman when the enemy doesn't have any cavalry in the field. Interesting. Maybe it's just there against the ships. Well, if that was the case, probably not the best investment. Alright, BrutalArmy here. Running into some big troubles early on here. Losing a lot of military. Basically all of their military that they invested in early on here. In feudal age, it's not been going that great. They've been able to sneak a fire ship around into the north. Looks like 1 fishing ship will be taken out. Oh, the micro though, not focusing the low HP one. Switching up the aggro now nicely and trying to take a second one. Let's see if that'll happen. I don't think that one will fall. And down he goes. So the early game is definitely not going as planned for the Spanish, I'm sure. Running into some troubles here, and still trying to do something on water here. Demo could be potentially massive here if we get the fire ship coming. But good job by ALIKOG. Wow, as though they knew it. Spreading out those fires even before the demo pops out. That was nicely done here. And thus, demo, wow, okay, that was more damage than I'd expected. Takes out that fire. It looks like he's going to lose this fight though. No, actually. I can't tell. This is super weird. It keeps going back and forth. Looks like the blue one is going to die first, but to the rescue comes the second fire ship. And that was a close call. But still ALIKOG holding onto this lead here on water. Neither party still with any land military, and the village elite here is starting to grow a bit as well for the Malay. 35 against 30. The idle time for Brutal Army behind this, yeah, continuously getting higher. Spears do bonus damage against ships. That is right, Silver Python. That's why I thought, hey, maybe that's just what they're going to be used for here, and that is in effect what they were used for. But apparently that well, wasn't the best choice against fire ships. And now I guess I did lie. I didn't see those scouts earlier, but Brutal did go for some land as well. Oh, this is the worst case though. Didn't pay attention to them and now has alerted the opponent to their presence for free, basically, without getting any value out of those scouts. We see immediately the spearmen being queued up by ALIKOG, so I don't think they're going to have that much trouble fending off this scout camp. Trying to get in here at some points, but this is beautiful walling by the Malay. Are they able to get a wall in the back? No, okay, a bit late on that one. So they might lose a villager or two over here. Okay, look at this. These villagers, despite having loom, having some trouble against the scouts. So Eco KD now at 3-3. 2 kills actually on these scouts. Whereas the water has been decidedly won by Brutal or by ALIKOG, who's also on his way to Castle Age already. Losing another villager here, but I think they'll be fine with that. The walling looked good there for a time, but yeah, in the end the scouts were still able to get in, even though they didn't do terrible amounts of damage. So Malay looking quite good here. ALIKOG fighting for their tournament life and going to get to clean up all these scouts. Apparently there they go. This was not worth it for Brutal Army. It was still a good attempt, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of this scout play. But you can see that is the difference between them getting up to Castle Age already and them still being stuck here. And in effect, we're not able to cause the same kind of damage on offense. ALIKOG has hit Castle Age already. And this is, wow, this is really forcing the issue there for the Malay. I'm not sure I love this, but, well, it's certainly one way to press the issue. We've seen most people actually take a slower approach, go into more town centers or secure the middle first. But ALIKOG is looking for the big prize and trying to drop the castle right on Brutal Army. We'll see if that goes through, but with no military to speak of, I don't see exactly how Brutal Army would be able to stop this from happening. So this could be quite good in the end. We'll see what the Spanish think about this. Another demo comes out. Not gonna turn the tides though. Alright, ALIKOG looking really good in this game. Can't lie, I would like a second town center immediately. You can do big military pressure, that's good and all, but I would still like to always have that backup security of getting a second town center and also simultaneously growing my eco lead, unless I'm going for a full all-in, which, well, maybe this is, but I don't think that would be necessary right here. Able to get that castle up without any issues, really. Yeah, Spanish, I mean, they get buildings up fast, but castle is still there. And it's gonna be difficult to handle. Oh, look at the damage coming out here with all these villages garrisoned. Tower just melts instantly. It was 125 stone wasted for Brutal Army, and that might mean they're not able to drop a castle as soon as they hit Castle Age, although with all these villages on stone, it probably isn't going to end up making a difference. Siege to follow this one up. That's always a bit tricky for me. I mean, typically you need siege to push in Castle Age, I get that, but you want some units to protect that siege, and there's really just 3 pikemen, is being the entire military for ALIKOG. I'm not sure I love this siege workshop here immediately. Interesting. Silver Python saying they like the way that water control is being made use of here. And I agree with that. I mean, not over-investing into the water, but actually parlaying it into a forward castle. The forward castle I'm super fine with, by the way. I just would have liked that second town center a bit. Oh no, actually it is up already. Okay, that's fine. I mean, still gotta make sure you're expanding faster than the opponent, while also putting pressure on them. This is ideal early Castle Age game state, I think. I mean, being able to damage the opponent, push them off of their main TC even, while expanding yourself is kind of the dream. It's looking really good for ALIKOG. Up 10 in eco, but also up massively in army. And with the castle on the opponent's face, it's gonna be a tough battle for BrutalArmy to fight. Tall mountain to climb at this point. Looks like the tools they're going to bring are knights and monks. Well, it's a start, right? I mean, town center about to go down. Second TC being added in the back. I mean, this is a good TC, but you lose all of this farm space. You're already down villages. The opponent is adding villages as we speak. Again, just like last game, ALIKOG and adding town centers faster than food eco. So not able to actually produce villagers out of those town centers at all times. Well, good enough at least, right? We're going to get there. Fourth town center even added now. Jeez, I don't really like this. Why could this not be mining camp? Maybe just scared of raids and wants to have the possibility to garrison the villages if need be. So I guess in that regard it would be fine. I'm just not sure we need to spend all that amount of res just to protect the villages there in the middle. And for now the castle will protect the siege. That is right, I guess, but had the opponent just had, like, I don't know, 3 knights, castle couldn't do really anything against that. But you're right, I guess for the time being, while the opponent was also still in feudal age, there was really nothing to worry about. So yeah, actually, as they're playing very respectfully with that mangonel and just taking the small victories, getting a lot of value out of that. So ALIKOG really with a clinic so far in this one. Other than losing their scout, I like all of the decisions they've made. Well, this already reeks of desperation here, kind of, for BrutalArmy. They know they need to make big moves in order to get back into this one. This castle, though, even if this goes up, what does it really do, right? It doesn't even take away any of the opponent's eco, really. But I guess maybe trying to range that, but even with all of your archer upgrades for the range, that's not going to be enough. So, castle drop, one of the best ways to try and get back into games if they seem desperate. Well, I would say just one of the highest upsides that you can get on plays is aggressive castle drop. Yeah, this one, even if it goes up, though, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Destroying the blacksmith to deny the Spanish bonus. Exactly, that's what's happening there. Yeah, consciously making the decision to focus the enemy blacksmith to cut off their entire gold supply. Never mind the 3 piles of gold in their base. Alright, so that castle drop was successful. Spanish built very fast and lots of villagers were brought, so I guess there it goes. Conquistadors added behind this. The eco really isn't in a great shape, down by about 15 villagers at this point. So it's not going to be a ton of conks. But well, maybe if they can get into the eco, that's good raiding. And ALIKOG would certainly struggle defending against Conquistadors. Looks like the answer is going to be castle of their own at home. Decent spot, I would say, I guess. And BrutalArmy really trying hard, doubling down on this offensive play, trying to push them down here. Castle is going to go up there, and the Conquistadors will need to retreat. Oh, hopefully they're not going to throw those away. Alright, able to get out of harm's way there is BrutalArmy. But the raid has been put to a halt now, simply by virtue of defensive castling here. Would still like to see ALIKOG actually warding up here on the sides. Just invest minimal resources into defending at home, which would be stone walls, and then keep pushing forward. We got thalassocracy. Let's actually see what that is. Not too familiar with the Malay. Upgrade stocks to harbors which fire arrows. Well, that's why I didn't know what this is. But we've got the harbors out here, I guess, as a further defensive measure here. I like that a lot, actually. The Conquistadors struggling heavily against this, and look at this, Brutal Army is probably not expecting those dogs to fire back. Wow, who would have known? The Thalassocracy, or whatever it was, coming to make a play here. And fair play, those Conquistadors are suffering against the buildings. Looks like good trades for ALIKOG here. And if there's ever a game you want to pick up this attack, I guess this would be it. So well, we've seen it all here in this tournament, really. Villager elite continuing to grow. ALIKOG, of course, skyrocketing now with that idle TC time, but it's not too bad considering that they've got tons of town centers. So at least as long as one or two of those are working in general, they should be fine. And Imp is on the way as well. What's the Spanish answer going to be? Possibly a GG. Wouldn't be surprised by that. Score difference also pretty big already. 1.5k. I mean, it's difficult to see a world where the Spanish come back from this. The raids are just near impossible. Base is very compact for ALIKOG, also continuing to seal the holes. And good defensive setup overall with the castle. So, well, it's probably all going to come down to ALIKOG pushing the Spanish, and as soon as Brutal Army feels like they can't stop the push anymore, the GG is likely to come out. So we'll see if that is going to be once Imp comes in, or if Brutal Army has one final trick up their sleeve. And with a few Conquistadors forward, if only they were able to get into that eco, right? But that doesn't seem to be likely anytime soon. Trebuchets on the way for ALIKOG. I mean, still no army to protect the siege, but no army to threaten it either for Brutal. 3 minutes until Imp for them. And what then is the question, right? You don't have an eco to really make anything that would seriously threaten Ali, and you're going to continue falling behind further in terms of villager numbers. At least 2 town centers here for the Spanish, but we see right there, not even able to sustain production out of one of them for the time being. This is not a great game state to be in for the Spanish. We might be headed to a deciding third game, guys. I don't want to ring the alarm too early here. But ALIKOG is looking really solid and is trying to reverse sweep this series. Ooh, Brutal Army trying to stave off defeat here so badly. Preparing the castle too, but for how long? Double trebuchets firing away at it. This castle is going to go down before Imp even comes in for Brutal. And thus I don't see what the angle is there. As soon as this one goes down, all the eco is open to being raided. If only, well, the Malay had any units to raid with, but they're building up some crossbows now, which are good enough for the job. Well, meanwhile at home, still no worries for the Malay whatsoever. Conquistadors just fleeing to the side here, not able to push in actually. And there goes the castle, or does it? Lycav trying to get it down, but no. Castle falls before the traps do. Interesting positioning here. The traps being so close to the castle actually costs them. Murder Hole's not in yet, and thus Malay lose that one trap. And that's not gonna matter, is it? Brutal Army running out of farm space here. We can see those villagers. Yeah, not looking to share this guy. Wants all that farm for himself. Oh, it's a difficult one. I mean, trap being queued up in the front castle now. Maybe can start dripping away at the defensive castle. But surely ALIKOG would prevent that from going down and push against the castle once they see Brutal Army attempting some shenanigans over there. Another Conquistador goes down. The town centers up for the Malay. Obelisks in as well. Okay, at this point ALIKOG really has got firm control of everything here. 20 villager lead. control of the middle, control of half of the opponent's base, frankly, and very well situated at home too, which BrutalArmy realizes and does. The series is equalized at 1 apiece. ALIKOG coming off a victory in game 2, looking to steal back the series here and move on as the favorite and the #1 seed. But BrutalArmy, by virtue of winning that neutral first map, now able to use their home map for the decider here, which is going to be Islands, apparently. Ooh boy, I'm always scared of these 2-hour Islands games. When that's the last game of the series, people tend to be slower to GG, and thus games sometimes drag out. On Islands especially, that can be quite tedious. It's exactly midnight for me right now, so hope I won't be here until 2 or 3 a.m. But yeah, well, you guys are caught in here with me, so well, let's share the pain, if it goes that far. Island games can still be exciting and eventful, so don't want to lose all optimism just yet. Pessimism is just more in my nature, as has probably become evident over the last couple of weeks. Anyhow, let's jump into game 3 here, get going with the decider between ALIKOG and the famous BrutalArmy, looking to advance here over the #1 seed of the bracket. We've got a color switch up here, actually. ALIKOG maybe putting out the final trump card here, flaxing over to the gray color, which is also one of my favorites here, in case people haven't been following the channel for a while, which, come on, what's the matter with you guys? I mean, I've been a major streamer for, yeah. Anyways, we've got the Japanese against the Ethiopians on the western side. Let's start off with them in the gray, our #1 seed, trying to make this happen. And this is an interesting matchup. You've got to wonder how BrutalArmy was able to get their hands on Japanese on a water map. Remember, this is pick your poison. The enemy decides what map you have to use your 3 civs on. And if we take a quick glance at the draft, BrutalArmy had Berbice, Japanese, and Spanish. And Japanese was chosen for Islands. So, fair enough. I mean, let's see how this turns out for ALIKOG, or if they're going to come to regret this choice of giving the opponent a fair naval civ here on water. Why do I say this? Well, because the Ethiopians, as evidenced here on the screen, aren't typically known as a great water civ. The good thing about them, I guess, is that outposts are very effective and don't cost any stones. Or if you're afraid of early landings, your outposts are very cheap and able to deny the opponent vision. Or rather, it gives you vision, I should say, and thus denies the opponent the surprise effect if they were to land you. Which on islands, especially people who aren't very comfortable on islands standard play, try to go for some cheesy early landings sometimes. Then again, there's some decent bonus for Ethiopians that might actually help them out here. They get extra resources when advancing to the next age, helping with the traditional, well, fast castle, or with just the general feudal age into warships. And golden food, exactly what you need typically when you're playing for water, trying to make warships and want to keep up villager production at the same time. So not too shabby for that by any means. Other than that, nothing traditional here that jumps out as a water bonus for the Ethiopians, but some interesting military bonuses that, of course, I mean, are useful on any map, just not the most well-known water civ. Is what I wanted to highlight here. If we take a quick look at the tech tree, they get Bracer, so that is good. And in terms of dock, they don't have heavy demo, they don't have fast fire. They have Galleon, I guess, and they've got dry dock and shipwright as well as careening. So, hey, I mean, fine dock, I would say, with Bracer as well. So maybe galleys could be the play for the Ethiopians, right? Now, on the other side, the thing I've been warning about here all day long, the Japanese, which, well, got at least some bonus here for water. That being faster working fishing ships. Oh, what more could you ask for on a water map? Only, well, prerequisite being, if you want to make use of this bonus, you gotta have fishing ships alive. So you gotta win water, or at least draw it out so far that you're able to keep a fishing economy up and running for quite some time. Also a good bonus for water maps, super cheap, actually half cost on economy buildings. So the gathering buildings, mill, lumber camp, mining camps, 50% cheaper. Man, that adds up so quickly here, even before feudal age, but especially then when you're trying to expand that eco into gold and stone and more lumber camps and mills. You save so much wood that you can invest into warships. So there's definitely a reason why Japanese are one of the most popular civs for water maps, despite not being classified as a naval civilization. The infantry label still fits though, because as we see, we've got a unique unit that has infantry, and they have faster attacking infantry as a whole. So it's not like they're all water, and actually a scary civ to fight on even maps that don't have any water involved. So, well, BrutalArmy in a fine spot here, I would say, to start this game off. Also, much more manageable or reasonable idle time to start this one off. What is this? These guys just went on a strike apparently after building that mining camp, which is admittedly maybe a bit too close to the goal, and thus might have been protesting the fact that the logistics aren't ideal there for their working conditions. But we're in the Middle Ages, this is Age of Empires 2. I don't think the lords are all that concerned about your working condition, guys. I'm sorry. At least look at the diversity in this workplace. Well ahead of its time, but maybe this is a family business where, well, the women were just required to, you know, pitch in with some effort as well. So, not too sure about the conditions there. Feudal Age has come in for ALIKOG while I've been, well, just memeing around, and BrutalArmy is soon to follow. Got the back dock there for the Ethiopians, but still going for fire galleys, interestingly. Typically with the back dock you expect regular galleys, and we've pointed out already how the Ethiopians have a really nice tech tree for galleys and not so much for fire ships. Feudal Age, of course, it's not going to make a difference, but still, curious choice here. Single dock production on the back. Got double dock production on the front with fire galleys for the Japanese on the other side. So, man, can't lie, it's a really promising start for our underdog here, coming off a loss in game 2. If the nerves, if the spirits are still in place, BrutalArmy might have a decent start to bring this series home and advance into the top 4 as the number 8 seeded player of the bracket. It's still a long way to go though, so I can't promise anything just yet. Was actually scouting with a fishing ship all the way on over here. Let's check out the vision for both players. Barely scouted around their island has ALIKOG, and on the contrary, BrutalArmy actually scouting the front and the back of the Ethiopians' island, finding the dock there on the back side, and is probably going to focus on that. Already sending a fire ship down around the east. That is a very good choice. Going to yeah, catch some fishing ships off guard there probably, but what a good job by ALIKOG to spot this galley, which, well, is probably out of scout, but still interesting, or interesting that the fire galley was spotted. We missed the landing here apparently, but also an equally good job of BrutalArmy to spot out this landing. Might be able to actually get a villager kill here as well. Okay, loses the scout and a trade-off, and we have these feared Ethiopian archers on the opponent's island. I didn't even see those coming over. Transport ship is still around though, so guess I just missed it all the way in the corner. This guy, I guess, his shift ended a time ago and maybe taking a quick smoke break. The archers start coming in. What's the answer going to be for Brutal? Puts up blacksmith, got the barracks up, puts up a range, and stable to boot. Wow, that's interesting. Range and stable. Okay, we're really taking this seriously. We've seen people take landings of their opponents way too lightly and not stomping out the fire before it spread. So I would like to see BrutalArmy take this one serious. As always, when the opponent, lol, when the opponent invests into a landing, they typically almost always lose if you're able to clean up their landing entirely. I mean, obviously, if they kill like 10 of your villagers before you're able to push them off your island, I mean, sure, that is still a victory then. But what I mean is, in general, you don't want to just try to hang on and just try to stay alive if the opponent lands. I think what you want to do is you want to take care of that threat before it spreads and really push them off the island before they get any eco damage done, at least big damage to speak of, and thus they will fall behind naturally because these landings are a huge investment every time. And if it's only that transport ship that the opponent has to make that you don't need, that's already a lot of wood spent there. Now, Brutal Army with an interesting army combo. I'm not sure why we're adding the archer. I'm not sure why we made the scout. Maybe the scout just for some vision and utility there. I don't hate that per se, but skirmishes are just the main thing that they need right now. Wow, that was super bad. Oh boy, that was horrible. What the hell? That was some BS as well. Apparently the town center can range one tile outside of its range if it's a turret foundation. I'm not sure how that worked out, but the tower just goes straight down. It's 125 stone lost. This is potentially game deciding. And with these 3 skirmishers, I think all these archers are going to get cleaned up as well. Unless we see some Leary archer micro type stuff out of ALIKOG here. Which, well, for all I know, they might well be capable of. Losing the dog at home already, though. This raid really needs to do a lot more damage in order to justify it. Because Brutal Army is already 11 eco units ahead. And those fast gathering fishing ships that are also super tanky, fun fact. They're going to give ALIKOG some serious trouble here, I believe. Oh man, picking gray and going for a sneaky landing. Yeah, you think that color was part of the strategy? Maybe. Maybe, who knows. Actually, I think maybe green would even be more effective for this. But it depends, right? On land, green is difficult to spot. On water, maybe not so much, so who knows. Either way, I like the color switch here. I also actually switched into gray, I believe, in my first series in the last game. For some good luck, and it did work out for me there, so maybe ALIKOG is going to benefit from this as well. But it is a tough uphill battle from the get-go, fighting Japanese as Ethiopians on islands, I believe, and the start has not gone in ALIKOG's favor, to say the least. Another dog also coming up for Brutal, it seems. Really going heavy on that fishing economy. Oh boy. This is looking difficult. Are we going to see another number 1 seed fall here in the quarterfinals? Is Brutal Army about to move into the top 4? I mean, it's looking great so far. The eco lead is already really nice. Let's check out the resources collected. Oh, almost 2,000 extra there for the Japanese. And they're good at home, even though they're not trading great here with the skirmishers. What's important is that the eco remains untouched. And the more the Ethiopians want to double down and triple down on this raid, the more they want to invest in military units there, the less they're going to be able to build up an eco at home. And with the water also being completely given up at this point, this one is going to be snowballing very quickly, I expect. Market coming up. Japanese able to go up to Castle Age here, if they so choose. A lot of extra gold that could be used to accelerate that process. Ethiopians not that far away themselves, but with a much worse situated eco, of course. Losing all the skirmishers and archers now. The scouts finally doing some damage here. Oh my lord. Poor ALIKOG. I don't think this raid is going to win you the game. Do you have anything else left in the tank that could throw a wrench in the system here for Brutal Army? Derail the train that is about to roll over you. Well, 2 range production I don't think is going to suffice here. Although the damage is of course pretty good from these archers, firing fast as they're Ethiopian, and gets the scouts to go down. So the military traits are pretty good. If we take a look at the KD, 26 to 26, and that includes all those fishing ships that were killed. Well, which apparently were 2, so I guess might have exaggerated that a bit. But, well, whatever. Point being, the Ethiopians are in trouble. On the way to Castle Age now as well. But again, as I pointed out, the eco is the main thing separating these two guys right now. If not the uptimes, the eco is what we gotta look at. Total and brutal army domination. Man, I'm not a man to steal catchphrases, you know, but it does feel appropriate here. Oh. Oh, castle drop incoming, you say? Is that the aforementioned wrench to throw in here? The kitchen sink that is about to be launched at the opponent. Is the castle drop the saving grace for the Ethiopians? Lacking some stone still, but on the way to Castle Age. Japanese able to get there first and already drop in a second town center. We like to see that. ALIKOG, man. It's now or never for the Ethiopians. How to spiral out of control is this game. Gillnet's on the way. That Japanese fishing economy is going to go to the moon. And actually, BrutalArmy loading up the transport. I assume maybe to already build a forward on the opponent's island, but could also take it slow and just start mining the resources in the middle, as they are currently uncontested. Both plays I would be fine with, but I expect BrutalArmy to actually go for the more aggressive play and land on the opponent's land. Getting pushed back is this grey archer force. Picks up the villagers now with the transport and says, I'm out of there. Or does he? Well, I guess he was baiting all along. Good job then. These scouts are gonna go down. Pure skirmisher army there on the side for Brutal. But this crossbow upgrade also coming in a good opportune moment here. Firing very fast as we've established. The skirmishers are gonna go down for BrutalArmy and the villagers are being landed again. The castle drop still very much a possibility. On top of the second town center that's being added at home. Little do they know that there's some orange folks that also crossed the ocean, and siege cav seems to be the approach for the Japanese to try and push on land. Knights now the answer. Now, okay, I gotta criticize BrutalArmy a bit in terms of these fights. I mean, this is just sending them in like pigs for slaughter. I mean, as I said, you don't need to necessarily win this battle here, but you've had quite a few soldiers killed over there now. The mothers of those will not be appreciative of the way you've conducted those battles. Is all I'm gonna say on that. Last few skirmishers are gonna go down, and maybe that castle is gonna come down after all. It's only 2 villages though, so I'm not sure it's actually ever gonna go up with the knights continuously being added by the Japanese here. Double armor upgrade on those. I'm not sure about this one. ALIKOG, I'm not sure. Okay, this is not happening. I don't think these 13 crossbowmen are going to be able to help this castle go up. Okay, a more defensive one. Well, you can't call it defensive, but I guess it's going to be... It's going to serve as a beachhead here. Maybe just wants to get that unit. What's the name again? The unique unit. It's Shotel. The Shotel production up to harass with those. And there are friends of mine that are traumatized from Shotel warrior raids. So maybe that's the answer here, to try and get some raiding going with that. The eco numbers by 20 in favor of the Japanese, who are starting to raid on land now as well. This is potentially going to tip the scales in this game, guys. BrutalArmy now also launching the attack on land. Oh boy, it was fine-ish for ALIKOG while they were also able to produce villagers out of 2 TCs, kind of keeping the eco reasonably close, at least the villager numbers. fishing ships are an entirely different story, of course. But now being pushed on land as well, losing town centers and or villages there. That's probably some irrecoverable damage for ALIKOG, who's now trying to push the mangonels with villages. But look at this. This is some total and brutal army domination, as you would say here. Silver Python, the Knights and the Scorpion perfectly suited to stop this villager push. Oh, it's painful to look at, but I guess the pikemen there for ALIKOG at least doing some heavy lifting against the Knights. And the villagers do end up taking out the mangonels. The town center stays alive at 75 HP. Hallelujah. And the Knights probably are going to end up going down unless... Oh, actually, never mind that. There's only one pikeman left for Ali. Good conversions on the opponent's pikeman, actually. Able to keep the Knights alive. Scorpion gonna die though, apparently. And at home, what's it looking like there for Brutal? Ooh, okay. Mangonel against the crossbowman. This was a massive shot. Can he get another one? Alright. That is difficult. Oh, these guys. Okay, this is the accurate time to drop the mangonel emotes in chat. We love to see that. Some huge mangonel shots, and ALIKOG suffers at the hands of those. Lost that TC after all at home. I think this is gonna be it for ALIKOG. I can't lie to you guys. Double the eco numbers for BrutalArmy. ALIKOG down to one town center and still being pushed, while some fine raiding has occurred here, but the entire force was taken out by BrutalArmy. I guess this is the last resort here, trying to have a town center on the opponent's island. But what really is that going to do? Royal Heirs coming in for Ethiopians now. Oh, Royal Heirs. Let's check that out. Oh, that's Japanese. My bad. Shotel Warriors, +3 damage from... -3 damage from mounted units. Okay, I mean, not sure that's gonna end up making the difference here. But if the opponent has a lot of Knights, I guess that makes your Shotels more tanky against those. So, hey, maybe not terrible. Okay, even getting the upgrades for the Shotels. Alright, we're really banking the game on this. Trying to have our 9 Shotels raid the enemy eco to death. I'm doubtful of that happening, but, well, it's the best bet he's got right now, probably, so why not? Well, he's also got 625 stone. He could put up another castle here, almost at least. So maybe that could do something, or a defensive castle at least to stabilize at home. That's all wishful thinking now, though, because the raids are super destructive. Light Cav coming through for BrutalArmy. Didn't he read his Civ's description? It said infantry Civ there. Where's the infantry? Well, looks like unconventional is going to be good enough for BrutalArmy here, who's really dominating this game. I can't put it any other way, but that's probably mainly due to the Civ matchup, but even still, I mean, good capitalization on this. He's really done his homework defending at home, and then gone for a very effective push on offense. Really good play on Water 2 to take control of that, and now the Shotas have come out. Oh, Scorpions, really good choice against those. They're going to suffer against all this siege, but at least going to be able to take it out in the end. But huge losses already among the Shotel infantry. I think that's gonna be it for ALIKOG, surely. If he loses these Shotels, I think that was his last opportunity to come back in this one. We see the upgrade for their armor about to come in. Maybe a bit late for this battle. Well, we can see 3 more actually come out. That's again 9. Maybe that's the lucky number for our friend ALIKOG here. Always operating on 9 Shotels. Pulling them back curiously. Okay, this is rough. He's not even getting any raiding done with them. And no matter how many town centers you have on the opponent's island, if it's 3, 4, or 5, you have 0 on food, and so that means no more villages. Oh, sheesh. Poor ALIKOG here, looking like this is not gonna end too well for them. BrutalArmy here, the number 8 seed. They've actually done it, I can't believe it. They're actually doing it here. 2 minutes away from him. Against a player with 10 villagers on the field. Dang. BrutalArmy gonna move into the top 4. Can't believe Daniela rigged the tournament just for Brutal to have some success here. No, I'm definitely not salty for going out myself early as a super high seed. Don't worry, guys. That's not the case here. Oh man, poor ALIKOG, really in a tough spot in this game with such a difficult matchup to play. Again, I think should have gone for galleys. We saw the tech tree and the bracer. Well, yeah, just in general, the tech tree for the Ethiopians. Pretty good for galley play, in my opinion. But who knows? Who knows if that would have been enough. Either way, this was really nicely done from BrutalArmy. And I don't think ALIKOG is going to extend this for all that much longer. Sure, you've got 3 town centers, but you have 0 food. So those villagers are not gonna be, yeah, coming out anytime soon. There's Imp for the opponent, maybe? Yeah, that's the occasion for Ali to end up GGing. Good spirits here in chat, love to see it. Well played series and tournament from both these guys. They both won their first round and was a close fought second series, but BrutalArmy really surprising many here in this one, able to, after that big victory in game 1 on the neutral map, bring it home on their home map in game 3, avoiding the reverse sweep and moving on into the final 4 of bracket G. So congrats there, and ALIKOG, well, nice tournament. I mean, hope you had fun as well, and maybe, just maybe, can see you in another tournament sometime soon. Again, thanks for participating though. And with that said, it's already midnight here. I'll head to bed now, but I hope you guys are still thoroughly enjoying the Pick Your Poison tournament. I'm definitely gonna stream some more tomorrow. I think only in the evening though. Likely that will be the only slot for me to have time to do this. But yeah, look forward to that in about 16-18 hours as of this Twitch stream, probably when I might go live. Either way, was a good day. Lots of fun series and great chat going on as well. And thus, if you want to see any more of these Pick Your Poison tournament casts that I've done, you can see those primarily on my YouTube page. There I've got a playlist, Pick Your Poison WODs. You can really watch your heart out there. Either way, thanks for coming out, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow.